What? Serafina and I were at a entrepreneurial book club where Stephanie never read the right book. And
Stephanie was terrible at this book club.
I really sucked at book club.
I did
Fabulous. What?
I just had a visual. I just had a
It was a
visual.
lot.
I had a visual.
Proud of it.
Hold on, let me turn it on.
Hello and good morning. Hi, Christine. Thanks for being on the show with us.
Hi, Stephanie. Good morning.
In the chaos of all that is holiday season, I'm very thankful that you took a moment to connect with me today, because I think we don't talk about mental health enough, especially on this show. We kind of gloss over it a little bit, but don't really jump into it. We're going to be having a conversation next week with another expert, basically just talking about loss this time of year and how some people are very much affected by the holiday season. But I really am glad to have this conversation. We've got Christine Mosier, who is a clinician. You've opened up your own, you went on your own
Yep.
in
Went all in.
Buzzards Bay, and you really work with athletes.
I do, yes. I started my private practice in Buzzards Bay during the COVID years when there was a mental health crisis going on. And as I went through that practice, I realized there's a huge need on Cape Cod for our services and
Big time.
clinicians. So my practice got full pretty quickly, but I feel like there's still a need that a lot of kids and teenagers and parents have a lot of stress on them right now, and especially athletes. Student athletes have so much stress on them with the expectations that they have and, their time commitment and very little time to seek out mental health support. So a lot of people are struggling and suffering in silence, which is really tough.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you were a D1 athlete. So you know exactly what those pressures, those stresses are. I don't think anybody can speak to that as well as somebody who's walked it, been through it, done it. And you did it in a time when nobody talked about mental health. That didn't exist.
Yeah, that is so true. Yeah, I've been playing sports my whole life. I grew up playing sports and played in high school. I played soccer and basketball and tennis and track. And then I went to Boston College and I played on the women's soccer team there. So
Amazing.
thank you. That was my primary sport. And you're right, during that time, we did not have conversations about mental health. There was no talk about mental health or anxiety or depression or eating disorders or any of these things that impact athletes. It's more like back in those days, it was like suck it up and play through the pain type attitude.
Yeah.
So,
and you were a female. So add it on to it.
Exactly. I loved my years at Boston College, and playing soccer there were some of the best years of my life. It was amazing. But as I moved forward in my career and I continued to play soccer, and I actually was the founder of the Cape Cod Women's Soccer League about 20 years ago.
That's amazing.
I wanted to keep playing soccer, but there wasn't really too much soccer going on the Cape for women. So I started the league so I could continue to play and give opportunities for other women to play. And the league is still going on today. So that's really fantastic.
I love that. See, you're a founder.
Yes.
People don't understand what it takes this is heart and soul, right? This is team mentality. This is, you're here for everyone. And I love the fact that you've made your career about still being there for athletes, still being there for the team, and still connecting in that fashion.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just feel like now there is more conversation about mental health and athlete mental health, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
We have more professional athletes coming forward and talking about their mental health struggles professionally, which is really helpful. And I feel like people are understanding now more the importance of this conversation.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't agree more. And not only are you, former D1 athlete, but you're a licensed therapist.
Okay.
So this practice is busy, and I'm sad that you're busy because people need you, but you're available and open in Buzzards Bay. How has that been in that area for you?
It's been good. I feel like there's a lot of people in my area that come to seek out therapy. And I do have an office on Main Street in Buzzards Bay in the Cubelis Professional Building. So it makes it very easy for people from different areas on the Cape to get to. They can come from over the bridge, or they can come from Plymouth area, or, Wareham or anywhere around the surrounding
That
areas.
canal region.
Canal, yeah, absolutely. And then I also work remotely too. So I offer telehealth services, which is great because it really gives me a broader reach throughout the whole state of Massachusetts. So I can also see clients from Boston. I can see clients from Western Mass. So it's really broadened my geographical range of the types of clients that I can see, college kids in Boston colleges and kids out in Western Mass that don't have access to services. So it's been really good to have that mental health aspect, which is one of the byproducts of COVID, I think,
What is
giving us access to telehealth.
what is the niche that you're finding yourself in right now that you really see a lot of people coming to you for? Is it all different or is it similar stuff? You're like, I'm seeing this over and over.
Yeah, I see a lot of anxiety. I feel like anxiety is probably the top one. And that's the underlying feeling. And this can lead to other issues such as substance abuse or eating disorders or relationship problems. So I would say like anxiety and depression might be the primary mental health issues that clients come in with, but then they trickle out into different areas of their life, so that it really impacts a lot of different aspects of their life professionally, academically, personally, socially. A lot of social anxiety is happening.
So much. Do you really feel like it's from COVID? Like we spent a little too much time alone and I feel like our kids are much more anxious than they've ever been before. And I don't know why.
Yeah, I think COVID was definitely a huge factor that really impacted kids in their mental health and normal development. And I also think the social media plays a huge role in adolescent and young adult mental health. I think we were too much time on the computers, on screen time, on our phones, on social media. And all these things cause kids to compare themselves to other people, seeing events that are going on that they're not invited to or included in, and feeling like they have to measure up to somebody else's appearance or accomplishments. And it really can help make kids feel less than. It gives them a lot of problems with their self-esteem and confidence. And, kids feel more comfortable looking down at their phones and texting someone than they do having an eye-to-eye conversation.
Well, it's a small world that they can control, and it's one that doesn't give feedback, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Feedback that you want. It's hard.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Now that we have AI, apparently we can go on AI and have a best friend that gives us that
Terrifying.
positive feedback that we want.
Terrifying.
Yeah. But yeah, I think about 10 years ago, I joined this alliance called the Alliance of Social Workers in Sports. And they were a group of like-minded social workers who also care about issues impacting athletes, mental health, and social justice issues, racism, gender disparity, financial abuse, all these kinds of things that happen in the athlete world. And so I joined that group and I attend their annual symposiums where we give presentations and hear research and talk about athlete mental health in different areas that sports social workers can work in to help, like college athletic departments or youth sports teams, or making policy that can help protect athletes and athlete mental health at all levels, from youth to high school to college to Olympic to professional. We have people working in all those different realms. So I started joining that group, and now I'm the co-chair of the clinicians committee. And so we host a monthly group where we talk about issues like this. We talk about athlete mental health and anxiety and eating disorders and substance use and gender issues, sexuality issues, all these different things that athletes are dealing with.
So many things that are
So
going
many
on
things.
right now. Amanda, Mari, thanks for joining us. If anybody has any questions in the chat, we've got a licensed therapist here with us. We might as well lean into Christine Mosier, who is joining us, just talking about her work with athletics and mental health. I think it's a conversation that is finally on the table. We're talking about it. We're talking about balance. We're talking about, geez, I didn't make the team and I feel kind of crummy about it. I mean, this very recently happened for one of my children where they were cut from a team they've been playing for their entire life.
Oh, wow.
And he seemed brave about it, and he seemed taken aback when I was like, do you want to see somebody about it? Seriously. But I just, want to check in and just let him know that I see it. I
Yeah.
want to be available to you for it,
Hmm.
and to talk about it. But I think this changes in high school, right? You kind of go down one lane and narrow it down to that one sport, and this
Yeah.
definitely was never the one sport. So we're trying to figure out ways to bolster the one sport which he loves is football,
Hmm.
and that just came to an end for the season. There's a crash at the end of a
Yeah.
season.
Yeah, it's so true. And that's fantastic that you're recognizing the importance of talking about this to your son. And
Yeah,
that's huge, like having a conversation and making sure that your child is okay. And if they do need extra support, support is available. That's great that you were able to talk about that. And I also like that you talked about like focusing on his other strengths too. There's not just one sport and there's not just
right.
one thing you can do. Athletes often identify very strongly to their athlete identity. That's very important to an athlete, and they see themselves as an athlete, and that's very important to who they are and where they get their self-esteem and self-worth. So if you have an injury or if you've been cut through for the team, it's devastating. It can really cause a lot of anxiety and depression and isolation and sadness and loss of self-esteem. This happens also with older athletes who retire from their sport or have to leave their sport due to age or
Yeah,
injury. And then they find out, like I've lived my whole life playing this sport, and I identify myself with being an athlete. Now all of a sudden that's over. Who am I? What's my value? What's my worth? And it can be really difficult for athletes to transition. So I think identifying other areas of their life that they enjoy, that they are good at, and exploring new gifts and hobbies and talents can be really, really beneficial for
yeah.
athletes who are going through that.
And it's not just it's high performing individuals, period. It doesn't necessarily have to do with athleticism, but that big life transition, when
Hmm.
something like that happens, it's all happened to many of us
Yeah.
where you were doing something and it was amazing and it was the most big thing of your life, and then
Hmm.
you hit a wall and you no longer do that. Who are you?
Yes.
That's really hard to navigate.
It definitely is. And like kids transitioning from high school to college is really tough.
Yeah.
After you graduate from college and now you have to get a job and live your life as an adult,
Yeah.
it can be really, really difficult. And if you've been married for a long time and all of a sudden you're going through a divorce, that can be devastating and trying to figure out like, what do I do next? And I've spent my life imagining this future that we would have together as a family, and all of a sudden that's not the reality anymore. How do I adjust to that? How do I get through this grief and loss that I'm feeling?
Yeah.
And then in the older years, we have a lot of elderly people here on Cape Cod,
So many.
and it's difficult to transition to retiring. And then after retirement, what do you do with your time? How do you spend your day? You've spent so much of your life working, and you identify yourself as a professional in your field. And then all of a sudden you're just, trying to sit on the couch and try to figure out, how do I structure my day? What do I do? This is a great time of life to explore different hobbies and interests, but sometimes people need little help with that, a little guidance on like how to do that and how to set up a routine and a schedule so that you don't feel lost during your day.
I've been
Yeah.
having this conversation a lot lately. I work with a lot of financial planners, CPAs, and people that, they can get you ready for retirement, but not mentally ready for
That's right.
retirement.
Yeah,
They're
it's
kind of
so
like,
true.
I don't know where to point these people in the direction to make sure that they're taking care of themselves mentally because they don't know what to do. They
I
don't.
know. Yeah, it's so true. And then even when they get into their older years and they start losing their physical or mental
Yeah.
abilities, and that loss of that you have with aging, your body's not working the way it used to, your mind's not working the way it used to, and all of a sudden you have to lean more on other people to help you, and maybe
Yeah.
you have to leave the home that you've lived in, for many, many years, and have to go to assisted living or a nursing home, and this all can be devastating for individuals as well. And then we have adults who are taking care of their aging parents and who are also taking care of their own children at the same time. So that sandwich generation is highly prevalent here on the Cape as well, because we do have an older population and we have families that are trying to navigate, like, how do I help my mom or dad transition to assisted living or a nursing home? What if they're resistant? Or what if there are no family resources available? How do we manage this? So all of these things can cause a lot of stress and anxiety, and having a therapist can kind of help weed through those feelings and give you an opportunity to talk up with some good solutions that you might not be able to think about. Sometimes
Yeah.
when you're in your emotional state of mind, it's hard for you to think rationally. So, we have our emotion mind and we have our rational mind, and sometimes they're not connecting. So a therapy can help you kind of find ways to find that wise mind, which is that piece in the middle, which kind of combines both of those aspects. And you can get there by doing self-care. Like, self-care is really important. I talk about this a lot with my clients. Taking time for you. You need time to de-stress. Let's see if we can get you to go to the gym and get exercise back in your life. How are you eating? Are you eating healthy? Are you eating nutritious foods? Are you drinking water? Are you taking time to meditate or journal or go for a walk in nature or do yoga? All these different things we kind of explore as to how can we help people get to their wise mind and find a sense of peace and calm so they can deal with all the stressors that happen in life.
Though, when you're in a state, sometimes it's hard to hear any of that because it. You're like, whatever. But when it's all firing, it all works, and we all know it does. But getting to that first step of deciding to do any of that can sometimes be debilitating. What do you say in your professional working and what you've seen that really is sometimes a good first step to make?
Yeah, that's a great question. By the time someone comes to me in therapy, they've already decided to take that first step. Yeah.
I'll go to therapy. This is
Yeah.
the thing.
I think what happens is people get to the point like, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I realize I can't do this by myself. I need help. And, you get a lot of things happen prior to that get a client to that point where they finally say, like, this is too much for me to manage all by myself. I need someone to talk to. So they've already kind of made that first step once they decide to seek out therapy. So that's fantastic. And I think like maybe there's still a stigma about reaching out for help. I think it's definitely getting better. Yeah, it is hard. And you
I make the time. Is my insurance covered? Am I that, like, all the stuff that we fight in our brain with? And athletes are also, we make our own destiny, so we can make things melt to whatever silly craziness we've got going on upstairs.
I know, that's true. A very powerful mindset, very driven, focused. Perfectionism is a big problem with athletes.
Hard.
It's great. It makes an athlete be able to succeed at their sport, all these positive qualities. But at the same time, taken to the extreme, it can be detrimental.
Yeah.
So admitting that you need help, deciding to reach out for help. And once you sit down in that therapist's office, the first step is kind of going through your background and understanding like where you came from, your childhood experience, what kinds of things happened during your life that may have caused you underlying stress and anxiety that was there even before whatever crisis is currently happening, because it all ties together.
Speaking of which, did you always want to be a therapist, Christine? This is what you went to school for?
No, not always, actually. At BC, I studied, I was in the School of Management, and I thought that I would get into the corporate world. And, I studied human resources management, which was the most kind of human part of management with that Boston College School of Management had to offer at that time. And I did work in that field a little bit after my college graduation. But then I went to Belize, Central America for a year as part of a volunteer program where I taught high school and I coached the boys and the girls basketball teams there. So that kind of gave me a broader world view where I finally was exposed to the ways different people live around the world, and understanding that outside of the United States and different countries, there are people living in poverty and people who don't have the resources that we have, and how grateful I am to have been given what I needed when I was growing up and having a family to support me and love me and friends and all the resources.
Such a perspective that until you see it, it does affect you.
Yeah. So I think that opened my mind up to like a more broader worldview, and which kind of led me into the path of becoming a social worker, wanting to help those who did not have those resources, less fortunate people who need help but don't know how to seek it. And so when I came back, I did work in the professional world for many years, and I helped my husband with his nonprofit organization called Visionaries, which documents people around the world who are working for nonprofit organizations, helping the world in different ways through nonprofit, Yeah, so I did a lot of work with that, helping with the video productions and things behind the scenes and traveling to different countries. And then I went back to school and got my master's in social work a little bit later in life while I was raising my two children in North
That's what
Falmouth.
we do. We've already got chaos going on. Let's
Yeah,
go back to school.
yeah, yeah,
You're not the only one. And I have a lot of girlfriends right now that are re-careering in their
yeah.
30s, 40s, and 50s because just what they decided wasn't it. Right?
Exactly. And we realize like we don't have to stay in one lane. We can
Yeah.
explore different paths and different avenues. There's so many things to explore in life. We don't have to just pick one and then stay with it. You can do different things because we have many different gifts and talents to offer. So I went back to school and got my master's in social work at Rhode Island College, and it was in Providence, so I had to commute there. It took me 4.5 years to do it because I really wanted to be home with my kids during the day while they were in elementary school and middle school.
That's an
And
athlete mindset. We'll
that's
get
right.
there.
Yeah, that's right. We figured it out. Let's
Out.
do it. Let's go. And it was hard, but now I've been a clinical social worker for over 20 years. And so, I've been working with different organizations on Cape Cod. I started with Housing Assistance Corporation. I volunteered at the Carriage House in North Falmouth with women and homeless children. I've worked at the place in Hyannis, the Noah Shelter, and helping potentially homeless people with housing search.
And
And
meanwhile, always maintaining some sort of athleticism. I've seen your photos from Pan Mass Challenge to
yeah,
Falmouth Road Race to I forget where there's like 4 or 5 other organizations that you've jumped in and said yes to. I've seen you at Boys and Girls Club
yeah,
things and supporting Jimmy Kiley, and we're
that's right.
building this teen center. I mean, you will see Christine. It's very funny when you've not really had a conversation with somebody, you've just kind of seen them in the background. But
Yeah,
then I've seen like 45 other photos where I've seen you in, and I was like, there's Christine.
yeah,
There's Christine. You're always kind of like quietly in the background,
yeah.
volunteering your skills and supporting other organizations. It's really incredible what you've done.
Oh, thank you so much. That's really nice. I have a social work mindset, so I do feel like it's important to give back and give to your community that you live in. So I have done a lot of volunteer work when I was living in Falmouth. As I said, I volunteered for Carriage House, and that led to my career in social work and my path down helping other people professionally. I've worked in the nursing home world for many years here in Cape Cod. And yes, volunteerism is a big part of my life. I was volunteer for the Falmouth Soccer Club. I coached many youth soccer teams, and I was a coach at Bourne High School, the girls team when they first were getting started up a few years ago, many years ago. And yes, I volunteer for the Pan Mass Challenge, and I do the Buzzards Bay Coalition Watershed Ride. And so I use my sports connection to do volunteer work as well. And through my friend Kathy Kelleher, who is
She's
married to Jimmy,
awesome.
yes, who we were Boston College soccer teammates and roommates.
Oh, so cute. That's the connection.
That's the
Okay.
connection. We've been friends for over 40 years. We just had our 40th reunion at Boston College this past spring, and we're still all friends, and we love each other like sisters. It's amazing.
Well, yeah, you're bonded in trauma and also teammates.
Yes, and so that's how you and I met, Steph, is through their fundraisers for the Boys and Girls Club and Pan Mass Challenge and all the organizations that they're involved in. Kathy and Jimmy are great, and that's how I met you. So, life has a great way of making connections with good people, and good people come together and do great things to help others and help our community, and that's something that's really important to me too. I live in Onset now, and I try to get involved with the Onset Bay Coalition and participate in their volunteer opportunities. So I think it's kind of like who I am wherever I go. I'm trying to seeking out opportunities to be helpful and also to continue my athleticism. Unfortunately, I had a knee injury. I tore my ACL playing soccer, which is
Worse.
a very common injury for athletes, especially female athletes, female soccer players. And I had a surgery. I did try to come back and play soccer after that, but it was really difficult. It was painful. So I finally had to hang up my cleats, and that was a very sad day. So
Yeah.
For me, I did experience what it's like to not be able to play your sport anymore, how sad that can be, because it's not only that you're losing playing your sport, you're losing your teammates, you're losing that camaraderie and that aspect of fun and socialization. So there's a lot that, ripple effects that go along with that. But I, learned how to play some new sports that I didn't know how to play. I've taken up golf. I've taken up pickleball.
I knew it.
Yeah, I do a lot of kayaking and yeah, pickleball. It's great. It's fun and it's not as hard on your joints. You just do what you can do as you get older. Yes, your body deteriorates over time and things happen and you can't do things that you used to love to do. But, you can't stay still. You got to keep moving. And I've run the Falmouth Road Race. I had a knee replacement after that. And after that, I ran 7 miles in the Falmouth Road Race. So you can do it.
So funny. Yeah, I hung up my running shoes after I was the last finisher in the Falmouth Road Race the year. I broke my foot on the course.
Oh my God. You have to be kidding me, Stephanie. Oh, that's horrible. And you still finished. That's amazing.
I finished. It was my 10th. I was like, that's it. I'm done. We're not doing this anymore. And every year I ran it for a different charity. I'm one of those helper people also. I feel the need to be involved in some organization of some sort to up the ante, to support people, there needs to be more people like us that just say yes and show up sometimes to do the
I think so too. I just had this conversation with my colleague from Athlete Wellness Consultants. So that's a group that we co-founded that provides trainings to athletes, coaches, and teams about athlete mental health.
Yeah, this is the moment for that, right?
Oh, yeah, thank you so much. I've given a couple of presentations over at Mass Maritime to the student athlete population there, talking about athlete mental health to try to help normalize that conversation and bring awareness to the importance of this topic and the importance of self-care and reaching out for help and how to communicate with your coach. And how to fit in time management skills like time, sports, academics, all the things that you have to do.
That balance, the word we're always striving for, the thing that I don't actually think exists, but we can be better about striving towards it.
Yeah, it's good to have a goal. We don't always reach it, but that's okay. We're trying. And that's important. Sometimes people get a little bit worried when they come to therapy, that it's going to be too much. It's too much to try to take all this on. And it's a lot, but we take baby steps. One small step in the right direction can lead to positive change.
I know.
So you help people see that you don't have to do a big life transformation. You can just take small steps in the right direction, help increase your confidence, add in a good coping skill, learn positive, healthy habits. And these things happen over time, with consistency and practice.
We're talking to Christine Mosier, the licensed and therapist, primarily working with athletes, but it's not necessarily the only people that you work with. And I'm just glad we're having this conversation today. It's a shift in the seasons. It's a shift in the way people are thinking. Injuries happen every single day, and coming back from that or shifting all that fabulous energy that you've got from your sporting team into another place where you can make a difference it's a thing that needs to be talked about more, because we have all of these amazing athletes that do have this special sort of energy that can uplift organizations fully. It's a good place for them to harness and get into some more volunteerism.
Yeah. And, Stephanie, you've done this with yourself too, because I used to hear you on the radio. I used to listen to you on the radio, and you were amazing. And that ended, but you created something else.
And I was bitter about it. It was bitter. It was bad. It was COVID. Then it got even worse. And I was just like, what am I going to do? And my husband built me a radio station. He's like, you just go downstairs and do what you do.
I love that.
Oh, okay. And it's morphed into this great pod that has connected with a lot of people in their space too. So out of that misery, out of that bad space, we created something that's functional and still does the good that it did. So I'm glad, and thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. And we have to learn how to pivot in life. Life throws us a lot of challenges that come up, and that's just the way it is. And we have to learn how to manage the stress and anxiety and the sadness and the grief and the loss, because that's just what happens in life. Sometimes life can be wonderful, and it is wonderful. And sometimes life can be sad and difficult and challenging. We just have to learn how to deal with all of that and celebrate the wins. And, it's like being on a golf course. You go out there and you play, and you do a crappy shot, you hit your drive into the woods, and you're like, oh my God, I suck at golf. I should never play again. I'm a loser.
Right.
But then like you have to put it away, go on to the next hole, and like just keep going. And then you make a great shot. You're like, oh my God, I love this sport. It's the best sport in the world. I'm amazing.
You just described everything I do all day long in my brain. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Yes. Riding that wave, right? And speaking of which, we have poured this into an extra amount of stuff going on in Mashpee this weekend. We have our Season of Illumination parade that I want to let everybody know about. Yes, it's going to be cold. Yes, you need to bundle up. But yes, I do want to see your face. We've got about 60 floats. We've got youth floats. Wow. We've got Little Miss Wampanoag, which I didn't even know was a thing. And I'm so excited that she's going to be out with us in the freezing cold. Our Season of Illumination parade is Coastal Cheer this year. So I had everybody do their little write-up because they spend so much time making these floats for 20 minutes of a drive on a parade, right? You saw what happened in Falmouth over the weekend. It was pretty magical. So now everybody's shifting gears. So I have one of our builders that was like, 2 great white sharks in a plunge pool. I'm like, that's on a float. So I don't even know what's going to be happening this weekend, but I'm really excited for it. It takes place on Saturday, 6 p.m. The weather looks cold, but it looks like it's going to be manageable. And I'm really excited to see everybody's face. And then we're looking at snow on Sunday for the final Cape Cod Christmas market. And I'm like, oh my God, should I cancel? Should I move it to Saturday? What should I do? And I'm like, you know what? It's going to be festive and it's going to be the last one. And if people want to come out and have a snowball fight with us and watch goats do goat yoga, because we created the goat cracker. Christine.
What? Oh my God.
Is the girls from Mindful Goat Yoga bring all of the goats, and then I narrate the story of the Nutcracker over Tchaikovsky. It's something that has never been done before, but we're doing it.
Oh my gosh. If it snows, it'll be amazing. You'll be like in your little snow globe over there in Mashpee, and it will be amazing. A winter wonderland.
We're just doing it.
Yeah.
It's going to be crazy. But I think that is still that mindset. I came from a military background. I played D1 volleyball for UMass.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm from that same mindset of let's go, suck it up. We're doing it. It's a special person, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely the drive that, is happening inside an athlete's mind, let's go, let's do it, suck it up, let's deal with it. And I think that there is, like I said before, some benefit to that because it does give you a lot of drive and gives you a lot of opportunity to succeed at many different things. At the same time, if you take it to the extreme, it can be detrimental to your mental health. Maybe you're taking on too much. Maybe you need to slow down. Maybe you need to take time to breathe. Maybe it's okay to not say yes to everything. And that's so important.
I'm learning that. That's an emerging skill for me, Christine.
I love it. We're all works in progress, Stephanie.
Right? But it was never a conversation when I was growing up. It was never a conversation that you've got to be the best. It's got to look the best. How embarrassing if it's not the best. It's really hard to come on the other side of that, being older in my years and looking back and going, well, that was a little pushy. Like I didn't need to do that, or I didn't have to do that, or I didn't have to say that to my kids.
Yeah.
Like I'm more mindful of parenting them because
that's great.
Push, it's different.
No, it's true. Like, and mindfulness is a big part of it. Like being aware of yourself, how you're feeling.
Yeah, I know I'm crazy.
Being aware of your crazy. No. And just being okay with setting boundaries with people and setting boundaries for yourself to protect your own sanity and mental health and protect that time with your family and your children because it goes by so fast.
Yeah, that's the hardest.
I've already raised my children. They're out of the house. They're wonderful grown adults now. And my daughter has a baby. So I'm a grandmother of a 1-year-old, beautiful little granddaughter. And, life goes by so fast. So you got to enjoy it while you can and spend time with those people that you really love and care about. It's really important.
Is there a message that you want to get out today? Something that you think that people need to know that they keep forgetting, or maybe it's where you're connecting. I just really want people to know that you're accessible. You're in Buzzards Bay.
Mm-hmm.
You are accepting people into your practice, and you're doing things a little differently.
Yeah, thank you. I would say for athletes, just our whole society and culture needs to remember that athletes are human beings too. You know, like I said at the beginning, we tend to glorify our athletes and hold them up on these pedestals and have high expectations. And that mindset really kind of is unrealistic for athletes to live up to. So it's important to recognize that athletes have many different needs, and they're humans, and they have the same kind of mental health issues that we all have as a general population. And the second thing is for also in the athletic world, like for coaches, understanding that what you say as a coach is very impactful to an athlete. You can have an amazing positive influence on an athlete's life by the way you coach them, by the way you talk to them, by the way you see them as a human being. At the same time, your words can be devastating, and you might not even realize it. You might be saying something to your athlete that you think might be motivational, but it can actually be harmful. So I think our words matter, so be careful, be mindful of what you say and how you say it, because it makes a big impact. And then for, people in general, if you're struggling with mental health issues, don't suffer in silence. There's help available. People are available. I'm available. There's many therapists on Cape Cod. You can go to Psychology Today to try to find one that fits your needs and takes your insurance, and you can hopefully find one. I know sometimes there's a waiting list, and that can be frustrating. You want to get in right away, but sometimes you might need to wait a little bit. But it's worth the wait, because then you're finally getting the help that you need, and you realize that you don't have to go it alone, which is really important.
Christine, thank you so much. Christine Mosier, if you are looking to connect, what is the best way to connect with you?
You can look at my website, which is www.christineamosierlicsw.com. I'm on Psychology Today, so you could look up Therapist in Buzzards Bay if that's too long to remember. And then I also have my Athlete Wellness Consultants website, and that's www.athletewellnessconsultants.com.
All right, I'm going to drop it in the chat too, just in case maybe you're driving and you're listening, or something else is going on and you just can't find it. So I dropped it in the chat to get a hold of you, Christine. And I'm looking forward to working with you in other ways, whether it's a Boys and Girls Club, whether it's for Mashpee Middle High School. We're doing a lot of work now with the chamber. I'm so excited to have two youth workers, my interns, who are amazing.
Oh, that's great.
This next generation of kids, they are smart, they're connected, they know how to do stuff that I was like, I didn't learn how to do that until I was 30. They're so
that's great. That's great. Yeah, I recently joined the Cape Cod Canal Region Chamber of Commerce. So I'm hoping that will, be a way to connect more with my community here.
Yeah, Maria,
I would love to come over to Mashpee and talk to your kids at the Boys and Girls Club. I've been talking to Jimmy Kiley about that for a long time. I know there's a big need for mental health services, so I'd be happy to be a support for that.
It's part of our tenant. We're looking at that, especially with the teen center being built. We're talking it's going to be built probably by next year.
Wow, that's great.
It's really incredible, the work that we've done over the last couple of years, really driving this one home. But that's the thing. Our teens need a place. They need a supportive place to be, a place that addresses their mental health, a place that gives them a place to do sports, a place that gives them a place to do STEAM stuff and all of the academic stuff that they need, that is just for them, to foster that sense of you can do it. You are a teenager, yes, but you're the next generation. You can do these things. I feel like we lump kids into a category sometimes, and we forget that they all are at different levels of need sometimes. And I definitely want you to come over and do a workshop. I love the coaching angle. I think that would be something that definitely needs to be addressed. A lot of us parents have seen a lot of questionable coaching, and maybe just a workshop of, hey, maybe we don't say those things. Maybe we say these things.
Yeah, that would be great. And, supporting parents, it's stressful. Parents love it, having their kids being in sports, but it's a big time commitment, and it does impact family time and the weekends a lot. So trying to manage all that too can be really stressful. But yes, I'd be happy to. And I really appreciate you inviting me on the podcast today. You're amazing. You've done so much for our community too. And you're just a huge part of Cape Cod and our Cape Cod community. And it's so wonderful to get to know you more and see your smiling face. You always make people smile.
Well, you're stuck with me now. You're in our I'll be calling you more often for things, especially the Canal Region Farmers Market, which is across the street from your house.
Yes.
your office. We just started that last year. We're hoping to double in size next year because that's what we're doing, addressing your health, better eating, better quality to your food, knowing where it's coming from. This is how we feed our body better things and
Yeah,
try
that's
to be
great.
better, right?
Yeah,
So I would love for you to come over and talk to people
sure.
occasionally on one of our Thursdays. So we'll
I would
talk
love that.
for sure. Christine Mosier, if you're looking for her, I dropped the link in the chat. Have a great weekend, everyone. Be safe, be warm, and I better see you out in some fashion, either Saturday or Sunday. I'll be in the Mashpee Commons. That's my new office. And then I'm shut down for the season. I need
Oh,
to regenerate.
that's awesome. Well, I hope you have an awesome turnout, and I hope the snow just falls lightly and
That's
beautifully.
it. It's going to be perfect. I keep telling myself no stress here. You'd have a great day. We'll talk to everyone later. Bye.
All right, bye.